Good morning. Thanks for coming back to listen to another story. So we've already read the barn owls. I want you guys to think about, what do you remember about these birds? So in this story, barn owls lived in an old barn for at least 100 years. You might be wondering what happens when there's no barn for owls to live in. So today we're going to read this book. It's titled White Owl, Barn Owl. It was written by Nicola Davies and illustrated by Michael Foreman. Let's read to find out how a girl and her grandpa make a special home for barn owls. White Owl, Barn Owl. One frosty winter day, I helped my grandpa make a big wooden box. "What's it for, Grandpa?" "It's for the barn owls to nest in," he said. "What barn owls?" I asked. But Grandpa just smiled. "Wait and see," he said. We carried the box across the Tuscany field. And then in little tiny writing it says, barn owls like to nest in old farm buildings or hollow tree trunks where there aren't any. They will use a nest box instead. Grandpa put the box high in the old oak tree. "How do you know there are barn owls here?" I asked. "I've seen one sitting on that branch at night," Grandpa said. "Look, it's left something behind." Under the branch was a pile of little sausage-shaped blobs. They looked like dried poop, but Grandpa said they were pellets. Barn owl pellet. This is the real size, so look at my finger compared to that. Barn owls have favorite perches that they come back to again and again. So I'm noticing that there is a story here, and then in the small writing, there are some facts. So both fiction and nonfiction going on. "The owls spit them out," Grandpa said, "to get rid of the fur and bones they can't eat." He pulled a pellet apart and showed me the tiny bones and skulls inside. "Will the owl come to our box tonight?" "Maybe," Grandpa said. "Maybe not. Owls are wild birds. You can't be sure what they'll do." And here's the facts. Owls swallow their prey whole. That's why they need to spit out the bones and fur. Ooh. So this little pellet in the illustration has all kinds of bones in it. You guys can kind of look closely and see what you think the owl ate. "When the sun went down, we kept a lookout just in case, but we didn't see anything. We'll have to be patient," Grandpa said. We were patient lots of times. I thought we'd never see an owl. In winter, barn owls have to fly miles every night to hunt enough food, so it's hard to find them. Well, I want you guys to think of what it means to be patient. And then one spring night, just as the sky went pink, a pale face looked out of our box. An owl, a white owl, a barn owl. In spring and summer, owls stay close to their nests. And then Grandpa did a strange thing. He put his hand over his mouth and made a loud squeaky sound. Right away, the owl took off and flew towards us. "He thinks I'm a vole or a mouse in the grass," Grandpa whispered. "He's coming out to see if he can catch his dinner." I just held my breath. The owl's whiteness gleamed, and its face was like a pearly heart. And here's the facts. A barn owl's huge eyes can see when it's too dark for human eyes to work. The heart-shaped ruff around the barn owl's face helps to guide sound to its super sharp ears, which are just holes under the feathers on its head. The owl came closer and closer and then landed in the tree right by our hiding place. It was so light it hardly bent the twig it perched on. I could see the tiny ruff of feathers around its face, like stiff lace. I could see the speckled browns on its back. I could see the shine of its big dark eyes. I could have reached out to touch its velvety softness. Under their feathers, owls are slim, skinny. Their bones are hollow, which keeps their bodies light and makes flying easy. Interesting. And then it raised its wings like an angel and took off. It was so quiet, all I could hear was my own heart beating. Owls' wing feathers are especially soft, so owls can move through the air silently and fly up to their prey without being heard. The owl flew back and forth over the field. Then another owl came to join it. That's its mate, Grandpa whispered. One owl dropped to the ground and came up again. Look, look, Grandpa, it's caught something, I said. And the facts on this page says, barn owls catch their prey by pouncing with their long legs and needle-sharp talons. Ooh, you can see their needle-sharp talons grabbing right there. So the owl is taking the mouse back to its home. I wonder why it's going to do that. The owl flew straight to the box and went inside. Hiss, snore, twitter, twitter, hiss, snore. The weirdest noises came from Grandpa's box. Barn owls lay up to 6 eggs, which hatch one after another. The first chicks to hatch are the biggest, and the last to hatch are the smallest. They've got a family, Grandpa whispered. That's the baby owls squabbling over their dinner. I held Grandpa's hand, and we walked home as the moon came up. Will the barn owls always nest in our box now, Grandpa? I said. Grandpa smiled. You know, he said, I think they might. Barn owls will come back to the same nest site year after year if it stays safe and there is enough to eat nearby. So look at this picture. Grandpa knows a lot about barn owls, doesn't he? Would you like to learn about owls the way this girl did? What would you have to do in order to do that? And the last page has a little note. It says, a nest box note. On modern farms, the open grassland where barn owls like to hunt is often plowed up, and old trees and barns where they nest are taken down. So barn owls have become rarer. One way to help bring them back is to put up nest boxes. The barn owl nest box in this book is very sturdy and weatherproof, so it will last outside in a tree. But nest boxes inside barns, protected from wind and rain, can be simple. Just an old crate will do. All nest boxes should be 10 to 15 feet up to be safe from predators and people, and should have nothing in the way of entrance so the owls can fly right in. And there's an index in here, and that's all. All right, today I am going to have some questions for you guys to answer about this book, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I miss you. Bye.